Hey, in this one we're going to keep going over Java syntax, but this time we're going over if blocks, else, and else if. So in the last one, I showed you these two if statements. This is called an if block. A single one of these is an if block. An if block starts when you have an if, and it ends as soon as you reach the last curly brace. So right here I have two if blocks. Okay, what if I wanted, and we'll get back to this, but this is two if blocks. So let me get this out of here. So I'm going to make a variable, int x. Let's do age. Age equals 16. If age is less than 21, system out print line, you're not an adult yet. Okay. So it says you're not an adult yet. What if I had two greetings that I wanted to do? What if the first one was this: you're not an adult yet if you're not 21. But if you're 21 or over, you say, congratulations, you're an adult, right? I could put that down here. System out print line. Hooray! Adulthood. So if I change this to like 50, you're an adult, right? So this one won't run, and it will just print this out. Hooray, adulthood. If I change this back to 16, though, you will notice both of them print out. This code executes because age is less than 21. It reaches the end of this if statement, which is the end of the if block. And then it comes down here and it runs this. What if we only want one of the two to happen? That's where, oh my gosh, that's where else comes in. And actually, I like to do my if else like this. Do I? I don't know. That's okay. This says, if age is less than 21, do this. Otherwise, do this thing. This is still all a single if block. I'm going to hit run. And you see it says you're not an adult yet. But as soon as I change this, 164. Hooray, adulthood, right? So only one case out of any if block can run. Either the if runs or the else runs. Now if I have another thing down here, one of these can run and one of these can run. Okay? The if block ends at the last curly brace. This one goes to here, else is part of it, ends here. Now, what if you want to have multiple conditions and only one of them can run? There's actually something for that. So let's add one. Let's say height equals, I don't know, how tall am I? What is that, 70 inches? 5'10" is 70 inches? 5'10" 2 inches. 70, I got it, nice. Okay, so let's say if height is less than, wow, oh gosh, I shouldn't have done, I'll do feet. I'll do this in feet. I'm 5, let's say I'm 5, oh my gosh, anyway, this is a bad example. Height, I'm gonna say 5. I'm 5 height units. 5 height units. I don't know how big a height unit is. Height. If you're less than 3 height units, I'm sorry, but you are short. Okay. Otherwise, let's say if your height, I'm gonna change this to height units. Height units. If your height units is greater than 3, greater than or equal to 3, and less than 6 height units. Let's say, let's do 7 height units. Is less than, and, height units. Be very careful. You have to be explicit. Here's a chunk. Here's a chunk. You can't do something like this, where you have greater than 3 and less than 7. You need to restate it. And then the other one, let's do another if statement. If height units is greater than or equal to 7, we're going to do something. Okay. So this works. This works all fine and dandy, right? System out print line. Out print line. You average, I guess. System out print line. How's the weather up there? All right. So I'm gonna run this. Oh, what did I do? Height units. Height units. Okay. So it's 5. So this one runs. If I change this to 2, this one runs. If I change this to 7, this one runs. Now, the thing is, every single one of these could possibly run, but they don't, because 3 is always less than this, and 7 is always less than this, so it works out to be like that. But instead, what if I said, if you're less than 3, do this. If you're less than 7, do this. If you're greater than 7, do this. What if I put 2 in here? We get 2 things coming out, which is not what we want to do. We only want one of these to come out. So instead of doing an if block, if block, if block, this is 3 if blocks. So 3 things could happen. Instead, we can say else if. Else if. This tags it onto the bottom of the last if block. And we can do that with this one too. Else if. It adds another condition. You are short is the only one that prints out, because only one of these can print out. They're all condensed in the same if block. And you can slap an else onto the end of this too. The if block formula is as follows. Some sort of if statement. That's the only thing that's necessary, followed by some body. Then you have any number of else if statements with a condition. The condition is why you use an if else or an else if statement. And you can have any number of these, so you can have a million of them. And then you have an optional final catch-all else statement at the bottom that runs if nothing else runs. So hopefully this makes sense. I was going to use age as an example, which would make a lot of sense, but that's one of your projects. So I'm going to leave that up to you. Just know that if the first case happens, the second case will not happen, and so on and so forth. Only one if statement can run out of an if block.